I'm a little late to the party, but I'm going to be reviewing the new HBO Max Velma series episode by episode. I was cautiously optimistic for this adult Scooby-Doo series, even when hearing all of the changes that would be made to the characters. I was certain that this wouldn't be my favorite Scooby-Doo piece of media, but I'm always happy to see more Scooby-Doo content being made, especially if it has the chance to bring a new audience to the franchise. Unfortunately, everything I was hearing about this series was bad. So what did I think of the first episode? Unsurprisingly, I think it was pretty abysmal. The obvious criticism that people have taken to the internet to rant about is the humor. This episode is not funny whatsoever. Jokes are made out of bringing attention to cliches, even though the show still uses a lot of cliches. If it's not that, the show makes references to cliches that I don't even think exist.
Oh, sorry I'm not a drunk on the verge of losing custody like every other woman solving murders these days.
This takes the self-referential humor that I think has gone too far in actual Scooby-Doo series and makes it so much worse here. The worst offender is the very opening scene of the series, where a bunch of naked high school girls showering discuss how pilot episodes often show gratuitous nudity in a way that isn't indicative of the rest of the series. Not only is this joke a bit of an eye roller, but it's delivered in a way that treats the audience like they can't figure out the connection themselves. I've heard people mention that many of the jokes here feel like they were written by an AI, and I think that that's an accurate assessment. The other aspect of this series that I want to look at in this episode is the use of adult content. There are several ways to make Scooby-Doo adult. Is this show scarier than the PG rating can cover? I would argue not. I don't think it's as scary as Mystery Incorporated, although there is murders that occur. They're shown in a cartoonish way without blood. There's also a strange joke where a kid's foot gets chopped off for no reason, which I guess fits the adult rating, but the joke is hardly necessary. Swearing and sexual content? Yes, this episode has that, but I don't think this episode makes a great case for those elements to be necessary. The final few elements that I'd like to discuss seem weird to put at the end of this video, but I think it makes sense considering how little they mattered in this episode. Those elements being the characters and the plot. The characters should speak for themselves, as even people who aren't fans of Scooby-Doo know who they are and how they act. However, the characters in this series don't feel like the characters we know and love. Shaggy, or Norville as he's called here, has very little personality, and only is there to answer some of Velma's questions. Fred, Daphne, and of course Velma seem mean-spirited, and it makes me really doubt that they'll form a good team. There isn't much of a plot so far. It's a Scooby-Doo series, and there isn't any mystery solving in this episode. Yet although the murder mystery has a definite lack of clues so far, there's plenty of exposition delivered. Unfortunately, it's delivered in a really clunky way. Velma's whole backstory is revealed at once, and by the end of the episode it seems unlikely that that backstory will go anywhere. However, despite how terrible this episode is, I also watched the second one. And I would say it's a definite improvement. So, stay tuned for my review of episode 2 of the Velma series.